Welcome, I'm Homero Galicia. This is Hispanic Biz Success Stories. We talk with successful Hispanic business owners to learn from them, their story, their struggle. We trust that you find this program interesting. We have a very special guest with us today, a young man who's built a very successful business rather quickly, actually. Mr. Erik Tijerina from Bolter Electrical Construction. Mr. Tijerina, thank you very much for being with us.
Morning, thank you.
Mr. Tijerina, what is Bolter Electrical?
Bolter Electrical. During college, I was going through engineering classes. So on the electrical engineer, we deal a lot with electricity, amps, volts, current, all that. So I joined two words, volt, the term volt, voltage, and ER, which is my first two letters from my name. So it's Volter.
Interesting.
Yes.
Your first name is Erik?
Erik.
And your second name?
Jacobo.
Jacobo. Erik Jacobo Tijerina. And what does Volter Electrical do? What kind of work do you do?
Our prime, it's commercial electrical construction, design. During the past years, we opening new trades. So at this time, we do electrical, plumbing, and mechanical.
Oh, wow. You cover
Yes.
the range. How big is Volter Electrical?
At this time, I think we have a little bit more than 100 employees.
Wow. That's
Yes.
pretty significant. And when did you start the business?
I registered Volter back in 2012, I think by September, but I was still working with my last employer. 2013 is when I decided to move on. It was kind of funny because I got married in 2013.
Oh, okay.
So the funniest thing is that my last day, it was my bachelor party.
Oh, really?
So Friday was my last day of work, and then I went to my bachelor party, and I got married on May.
Wow. So you did two big things. You started a business, you got married.
But it was tough. Imagine getting married without a job.
So, yeah, what was that like?
It was stressful, but you got to do it. Like, you got to...
So did you always want to have a business?
Since I was a child, you always think like, I want to do something on my own. I want to grow something. You see business owners doing good in business, learning, teaching. So it was one of my goals, open a business.
So you went to UTEP and you got an engineering degree, electrical
Yeah.
engineering? So
Yeah,
you're an electrical engineer.
Yeah, I wasn't an electrical engineer at the school.
But to own your kind of business, you don't have to be an electrical engineer.
No.
So what difference does it make that you're an electrical engineer? What is it that you bring to the business because of that?
Well, you know what? I always was. My goal was to become an architect. I paint, abstract, oil, water, pencil paint. That was back on middle school. I was going to tournaments and all that. High school, keep doing it. My goal was to be an architect. But during high school, I started working. So my first job was a bakery. I didn't have a car, so I asked my dad, "Can you lend me your credit so I can get a car?" Since then, well, I was supposed to work, so I couldn't go to the closest architecture school, or either San Antonio or Phoenix. What was my next step is, okay, I got to keep working. I have to do something to learn. So I started an EPCC, just basics, drafting design. I started working with my dad. My dad worked with my last employer. He worked there for 30 years. So I started as a laborer.
And who is that with?
I did work with Erik, the Erik Group right now is their name. I worked with them for 10 years. My first year I was just a laborer. I started to like the trade. You know, it's very interesting. You never get tired. You never get bored because different project, different task, different areas. So I was going to college and I was working part-time with them. So I started like, okay, let's keep going. I start taking exams for my electrician license. I got my license, but I was still going to school. So it was kind of rough because as you grow on the college, is tougher classes, more time involved studying. So the last year it was work, school, library, go back, wake up. So it was kind of a tough, but at the end, you gotta. Well, my goal was to grow, so I have to do my own business.
So you were already working in the electrical field with Gary Porras, Erik Electric, while you were going to school.
Yes.
How long did it take you to finish school?
7 years.
7 years. Yeah, because you're working in
Yeah.
But you got your electrical degree, but you were already a licensed electrician when you finished.
Well, the year when I was a senior in college, I got my master electrician's license. So,
Okay. Wow.
yes,
Wow. And your father worked for Gary Porras, you said, for 30 years.
30 years.
Wow. so that's in your blood.
It is. As a matter of fact, my brother does electrical work too.
Really?
He worked with us too.
He works with you.
Yes.
And what's his name?
Erik, Tijerina.
Okay. And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have a brother and a sister.
Okay.
4 years apart, each one of them.
And your father, he was electrical. Where is your father from?
He's originally from Ojinaga, Chihuahua. My grandfather passed away when he was 13.
Okay.
So the next step for my grandmother is send my dad to Juarez with his uncles.
Oh, wow.
So he went to Universidad Tecnológica de Juarez, and then he just decided to work to move to El Paso. Not to move, I think work, but we still live in Juarez.
Okay. And your mother, where's your mother from?
She's from Juarez,
Okay.
Chihuahua.
And you grew up in Juarez?
Yeah, I grew up up to my 14. When I was 14, we
Wow.
moved to El Paso.
And then you went into school. What school did you go to right away?
We moved to the east side, which is a brand new area. So they just finished the new school. It was Mauer Middle School and Elfida Chavez. So I was on Mauer Middle School.
Okay. Were you Spanish dominant at that time?
Oh yeah, it was just Spanish. It was very tough for me.
Really?
Yeah, and then as soon as you move to here where's my Spanish language friends, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
But you learned English pretty quick.
High school.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, high school. Well, the thing is, middle school, I was there for the 7th grade.
Yeah.
That's it. And then moved to Mountwood High School after.
Good. And so, what year did you finish Mountwood High?
When?
What year?
2002.
And then right away you went to
Community college.
Wow, that's great. So you worked for as an master electrician, right?
Mhm.
For Garrick Electric
Yes.
for how long?
10 years.
And then what got into you to want to start your own business?
You know what? I learned a lot with them. I know my dad introduced me to the electrical trade, but what he helped us out is that as soon as I joined in, it was, well, you're the son of Jacobo, so Chiple. The first thing they did is move it to another foreman, and I learned a lot about it was a working class. The trade was just work and teach you and do it this way, do it that way. You learn this way, you learn that way. So that's how I decided to.
So when you started, I mean, you knew the field pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah, you were already prepared.
Kind of. Yeah, because I remember when I was 13, 14, my dad used to do side jobs. So it's like on the weekends or after school, come in, help me out. So I learned.
What did you learn from your father?
Responsibility,
Really?
honesty. Yeah.
Your father's very, very responsible. Huh?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And your mom?
Same thing.
Yeah. Does your father work with you?
He does. He's working with us right now.
So you listen to your father?
Yeah, I respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you built a business pretty quick. Let me start a little different note here. We've not done this program for a while because COVID came and hit, and we haven't done a program for quite a while. So COVID affected us dramatically. How did it affect your business?
It was very tough. I think the good thing, SBA was there for construction companies to help them out. A lot of employees, staying at home. They couldn't work, or the COVID test, or they get sick, and the construction kept going. So contractors have a due date to turn in their projects, right?
Right.
So we ran out of employees. So I remember one time we just hiring whoever was on the list to help us work. We were working overtime, a lot of overtime to meet the due dates.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough.
Wow. And you had employees get COVID?
Let's say like 20%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah, it was tough.
But you survived.
Yes.
Did you take losses during that period?
No.
You actually grew.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is that you're also a SBA 8A certified contractor now, right?
Yes.
So you're working on government contracts.
Yes, sir.
When you work on government contracts, are they much bigger?
To be honest, I remember one time, I don't know if you know Ana Espinosa,
Yes.
Access Communication.
Yes.
I got into the 8A. One of my friends, he's a nice guy. He's an old guy. The first thing he told me, you know what, you gotta join the 8A. It's direct work or competitive work with the government, but it's very well. You can grow there. So I remember one time that Espinosa, she showed up in my business, and she was like, "You're very lucky." Why? Like, I didn't know that the majority of contractors getting certified, they start getting projects after the 4th year. So the first year we got 3 contracts.
Wow.
It was IT, it was the telecommunications work, because that's our prime, electrical, low voltage. The next 2nd year we got 4. The 3rd year we slowed down, but lately now we expanded. On the 8A right now we do, how you call it, civil work, infrastructure. We do a lot of roads, maintenance, sidewalks, concrete, and we're getting very good on that. These past 3 years, we've been doing, I think most is concrete and asphalt work on Fort Bliss.
So when you get in the 8A program, you get a different range of
Yes,
work.
yes.
And you're able to perform because you're in construction.
Yes.
Is that difficult?
It is. At the beginning it is, but as a business owner, I think you gotta keep learning every day. I know it's a different trade, but just get to know or take courses or go to classes where they teach you to get thought about how to estimate, how to manage that type, what type of equipment do you need, the length of doing the process of the construction. So you never stop learning.
So let me get back to your degree, being an electrical engineer. What difference does it make in your business that you have that engineering degree?
You know what? When I got to the electrical engineering school, I thought it was more into my trade. But UTEP engineering, it's electronics programming. As a matter of fact, our senior project was awarded with the first place. We did. We designed a app, an Android. It was an Android application that was able to alarm, disalarm, turn the AC on, off, pop the doors. If someone stole it, you get notified and you stop the car. Bluetooth, not harness. So.
Wow. So a lot of programming.
It is. UTEP is programming. I have a pretty good
So
engineering school.
how does that help you in your business?
You know what? I think it is the willingness to learn. Whatever. Like, it's the same kind. Like for a test, you study. For a project, you have to study the project to know how much profit or how many people do you need, what tools you need. So I compare it. You study, you got to learn formulas. On construction, you need to know the formula. Employees, safety, equipment.
So you do see things in formula format then,
Yeah, yes,
and so you analyze,
yes,
and so that's what college is for you. Now you wanted to be an architect.
yeah.
Where did that change?
I really don't know. I really don't. I like to design, you know. My wife, she's a fashion designer. So she and I, if we gotta do something to the house, we just got together and brainstorm and design it. Same thing with offices, same thing with all kind of stuff. So.
Wow. So how many years have you been married now?
8 years.
And you have children?
2.
What
A
ages?
daughter and son.
Oh, that's
Girl and
great.
boy, yeah.
That's great. So how many hours a day do you put into your work?
At this time, you know what? I woke up at 4 a.m. And then I show up at the office like around 5. From 5 to 7, it's my do everything you can do. It's no phones, no one asking you, calling you. I think those 2 hours are the most effective. And after that, it just put in the office.
Constant.
Yes.
So you run the business.
Well, yeah, but we've been developing. Now I've been slowing down.
Okay. And what time do you go home?
I get out of the office at 4:30.
Okay.
That's it.
You make sure.
I'm
that-
out.
So you have a life.
Yes.
How long did it take you to learn that?
After we opened the business, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you started your business, did you know business?
No. I think you always see business on TV. They just show you the happiest and I think profitable part of a business, but there's a lot of problems involved.
So how did you know how to start?
You know what? Talking to the right people, getting to know experienced people. You know, people that run their business or.
So what is the quality that you have that allowed you to listen to people?
Well, they can, let's say in a 10-minute conversation, I will be just getting whatever I need to learn. You know, something that just pop, like, okay, that's a good idea. That's how he run his business, or this is how he solved the problems. So
So when you started after working 10 years, and then you started but you always had the interest in starting a business early. So why did it take you 10 years to start a business? Why did?
Because I wanted to finish school first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the goals that I have.
So how soon after you finished college did you start the business?
I graduated 2010, 2 years and a half.
Not too bad. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But you got in with you were prepared.
Let's say on the field, I was prepared. On the estimating, I was 70% because that wasn't my actual trade. But so my goal was, if you want to be a successful business, just learn, research, get help.
So how did you start? Did you have to borrow money, or did you have savings, or?
No, it was, you know what, it was kind of funny. When I left the company, it was a weekend for my bachelor's. Came back on Monday, and Tuesday I was negotiating, it was a retrofit for a warehouse, a lighting retrofit. So that was my first project.
So right away you had a.
Yeah, the first one, it was a gift for me. Like, oh wow. And after that, it was just pushing. I remember one time, one of my best foremans, he graduated with me on high school, and every time we discuss that, it's kind of funny because he was working with another contractor, and I asked him, help me out. It was just him and myself. I was doing the paperwork, estimating, getting the material, and he was in the field, and then I help him out on the field. And he's like, do you think you will have more work for me? Like, if you don't have work, I won't have any money. Like, I need to work to give you a job. So that was my concern all the time. Like, I need to keep these people working, so they stay with me on the company.
Wow. So you had to get out and get some work.
Yeah.
And so what was the first challenge you had to face when you started a business and you had your first contract?
Well, the first contract went very well. The issue that I found after that is, as you try to grow, you don't research your clients or contractors. So we're just looking for projects to start like growing, but a lot of contractors, general contractors, they don't pay you, or they hide, or they want to steal part of the contract, the money from you. So those were my first, the struggles, the first ones that I got. I think I learned the hard way.
So how does that happen?
Well, I started working with this company, and he gave me the first contract. We finished it. He kept money from my first, and he gave me a second one. So he was like keeping money from projects. So at the end, it was I started to do a legal kind of a battle there, and we won. So that we learned the hard way.
So they were keeping some of the money from you, and
yeah, that's what they
thinking
wanted
that you're inexperienced. But you use legal services.
Yes.
Wow. And that was early.
Yeah.
So when you started, did you start as a corporation? Did you form it as a corporation?
Corporation, yes, as Corp.
Okay. And how did you know how to do that?
I got an advice from one of my friends.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they want me to do LLC, but I think at the end, I don't want it to do a transition because I wanted to keep growing. So that's why I kept it as.
And so where did you get your first, advice for starting the business and putting it together and all of that? From friends, or did you go to some agency, or?
No, well, I knew the infrastructure of a business, but at the beginning, I only have $5,000 on a truck. That was how I started it. $5,000 on my bank and a truck. But something that I've been learning a lot because I do a lot of seminars and all that, is you gotta like look at the next step. So it was myself, and then I hired my friend of college. He was estimating, and then so I have to keep growing my office, so I can just focus on getting the projects.
So all of a sudden now you become a marketer.
Yes.
Wow. And how was that?
It was tough because you're trying to go to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to get to know people, pass the Chamber of Commerce, any event that you see, well, you try to go there to know people on your trade or someone that can help you out. Like, not just construction, you gotta be legal, finance, and health.
So you started networking.
Yes.
So as you grow the business, one of the interesting things is how you started and who helped you. And I guess you just started with a little money, and from your contract you started building some reserves, some cash, so that you could start hiring people.
Yes.
And then you managed it. Did you manage the money yourself?
Yes. It was tough. It's very tempting.
What is tempting?
Well, you know what? You got money in the bank, and let's buy this, let's buy that, but you gotta hold your horses there.
Where'd you learn that?
I think my parents.
Sure.
They save a lot of. They know how to do that.
So instead of buying toys, you got tools.
Yes. Equipment.
Yeah.
Yes.
You started 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years.
And you grew it. You have now how many employees?
More than 100 plus.
How many trucks do you have?
30 something, 40, around there.
Wow. And you've got a yard. You've got a large yard. Your location is located where?
At this time, we're on the east side. Zaragoza and Pebble Hills, around the area.
You're on Pebble Hills.
Yes.
And your yard is full.
It is.
It's packed because you got so many vehicles. And
yes.
what are your primary contracts right now? What kind of work do you do?
We do commercial. Schools, hospital, clinics, shopping centers, parks, industrial work, warehouses.
You do the electrical primarily?
Electrical, plumbing, and mechanical.
And you got into plumbing because that was a need out there?
You know what? Something that I've been learning from my contractor, from the GCs, is that a lot of them like to have a package deal. The case being is that if they split it, the electrical trade might have a conflict with the mechanical. So when you get these trades all together with the same contractor, us as a contractor need to fix the issue, not blaming different trades.
What is mechanical?
Mechanical HVAC, units, VRFs, rooftop units, AC units, EVAPs, chillers, cooling towers.
Wow, and so you really expanded just to meet your customers' needs.
Yes.
You were sharing with me that you had $5,000 in your pocket and in a truck, but you got a contract right away.
Yes.
And you performed that successfully quickly?
Yes. You got to push it.
And then how did you get other contracts?
Well, the thing is, when I was with my last employer, I was on a project at White Sands. So we worked 4 days, 10 hours. So from Monday through Thursday, it was working, and then day off Friday. So my Fridays was going through visiting general contractors and introducing the company.
Really?
Yes.
So you worked with general contractors getting sub
work?
work?
Yeah, introducing myself, like what type of work.
Does it make a difference that you're an electrical engineer, you're a certified electrical engineer?
I don't think so. There's a lot. To be honest, my last employer, he wasn't an engineer. Right. But he's one of the more experienced contractors.
So what did you learn working 10 years for Garrick Electric? What did you learn?
Professionalism. Professionalism.
Really?
Yeah.
What is professionalism?
Doing on time, doing it right, and having the right people.
Are there people that don't do it right and don't do it on time?
they did on time, but you got to go back and fix it.
Ah, so you do it right the first time.
That's our goal. That's
How-
something that I tell my foremen.
How do you do that?
Well, before we start a project, we review the project with the foreman before we start like the actual construction.
Let me ask you. One of the things that I know is that you have a very strong bonding capacity. You've built that because you do government work, and some contracts require that you bond them. That's difficult to do, and in 10 years you built up a significant bonding capacity. How in the world did you do that?
Well, one of my friends, when I started it, I got my first contract, and I told you my experience with GCs that want me to pay. So, I think those issues about how can I pay my employees. So, one advice that I got from one of my friends is don't ask about money. Go to the bank and ask them for a line of credit. So I went with my bank and then asked them. So I started learning about line of credits, bondings. Right away when I got to the 8A, they told me, you need to grow your bonding. You need to grow your bonding. So right away after my second year on business, third year in business, the goal is to grow. Big contracts require big bonds, right? So if I want to grow big, I need to put a lot of attention to my bonding. So every year I ask my agent to review my financials twice a year so they can upsize my capacity.
How do you build that capacity? That's financial capacity, the
Yes.
bond.
Well, as I told you, like before we start a project, we need to teach our foreman the material, the time frame, and the people that he will get, like all the crews that he will have. So we don't spend more money that we're supposed to. So we can save our profits.
So you save your profit.
Yes.
How do you manage 100 employees and very large? Give me an example of a large contract. How big is a big contract for you?
Well, right now we have a project on forklifts we're a trade, so GCs are more heavy, right? But we got a 8.1 million, one of the projects, and there's some of them 5, 3, 4 million.
Yeah, GC is general contractor. They get the big contract.
Yeah.
You get the
smallest.
smaller.
Yes.
So you're doing several of these $3, $5, $8 million contracts a year.
Yes. We don't say no to any. We do from 10 grand, 10,000 to
Really?
Yeah.
And so, so your core team. Two questions I want to ask is who you listen to.
Who I listen to? I listen to everyone that will give me an honest response or a comment or advices. You know, if it's an honest, even though I'm doing wrong, but they say honestly, it's something that I will have to take to my brain and chug it. You know.
How do you know it's honest?
You can tell right away. Well, the way I see it, I can see who is honest and who's not.
So how much does intuition play in the decision making that you do?
50%, I think. 50%.
50%. And the other 50%?
It's just, I know, go for it.
Yeah. But you research?
Yes, all the time.
What is a chief characteristic that somebody in your shoes needs to know and needs to have to really grow a business as quickly as you have?
The willingness to learn, the willingness to communicate. When I say communicate, I remember one time we do a lot of work with forklifts, and well, not lately because of COVID, but past years, they use us as an example. the not the Corp, Mick uses an example because they like the way we communicate. Even though there's issues, problems, or delays, we communicate to them. This is happening, but we will get it done.
So one of your key culture factors is you communicate.
Yes.
And Mick is, at Fort Bliss, Mick is what?
It's the Department of Construction.
Yeah. And you're an 8A contractor with SBA, so you're
Yes.
getting set-asides. And you've been how long in the 8A now?
5 years, 6 years.
And you have, you get out in 9 years?
9 years,
So
yes.
you get out in 3 more years?
Yes.
Okay. Has the 8A been good for you?
Yes.
What has it done for you?
Being part of the 8A, which is part of the SBA, they provide us a lot of classes, seminars, financial bonding, HR. So I give all those tools to my office employees.
How many office employees do you have?
Right now we have 12.
That's pretty good staff.
Yes.
And so in running your business, what would you say your chief role? Are you the doer, the CEO, what are you?
I'm the CEO. I am, but I do help them when they get stuck. I know how to do estimate, so we have sometimes we have like five proposals to submit in a week. So if one of my estimators needs help, I help them out. Decision making. If they need any kind of help, I'm there.
How did you build your team?
You know what? Something that I learned. Well, you need bookkeepers, you need a secretary, you need managers, you need all that. But I try to get them from the field so they know how everything works on the field, and teach them the inside of the office. How to do paperwork, what to look after, how to communicate with GCs, put everything on file. So if something happened, it's there.
How'd you learn all that?
Well, seminars, researching, learning from GCs. I see how they work, and I see that it's been working for them. So
How do you learn from GCs? Do you go into their office and talk to them, or?
You know what? Let's say if I have a project with them, I will show up to their like construction meetings, and I will see what they're doing, how they're doing it, or how they save it, or the process of.
So you're watching, observing, learning.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yes.
So have you made some big mistakes?
Big mistakes. Well, we do have, but what big mistakes have we done?
Well, have you lost money in a big project?
Yes. Yes. We have, sometimes we're running late to submit a price, and because we want to do it fast and we forgot something. But something that I always said is, if it's my mistake and I provide that price to them, I will do it for that, because it's not their fault, it was my fault. So I won't buck up, I will do it, even though, and they like it. They like it that we're responsible.
But you've had to eat the loss.
Oh yeah, but jump to the next one.
What are your biggest challenges today?
Employees. It's tough.
In what sense?
Well, I think we're running out of very skilled laborers, trades.
Really?
Yeah,
What, people aren't preparing?
they're not preparing well.
So that's hard in your final product.
Yeah, before COVID, we have some discussions with the 8A association, with Borderplex, and we were discussing trade schools. One of my advices was to go to high schools and teach them, advise them. If they don't want to go to college or university, you can grow as a trade as well. But COVID hits and we haven't done anything yet.
So you're still COVID is still affecting your business.
In a sort, well, now like there's a lot of people coming to us, but like very prepared. We need to train them.
Yeah. So, do you have a corporate culture that when people come into your organization, they need to learn so they operate within your culture?
I let them be. I watch them how they work, but if I see something that they don't have to do or they don't have to do it that way, they need to follow, let's say, the spec or the drawings. I ask them to do so. I try to be a leader. I let them work. Something that I tell my employees that I'm not a pushy boss. I never. If I see results, I don't ask them anything. Let's say on Monday I ask them, I need this, this, and that, and they give it to me. They're good, like good results. I need to see good results.
So, how did you learn to be a leader?
Looking at some other leaders. I do a lot of seminars. Tony Robbins, Denzel Washington give some good speeches. Lincoln gives some good seminars. So I follow everything that will help me out.
So you're developing yourself.
Yes.
So what is the biggest lesson you've learned, or biggest lessons you've learned in building your business about yourself?
I think the biggest is the right way to communicate with employees. Not to make them feel bad if they're doing something wrong, but teach them, like, look at the other side. Like, look at my, walk in my shoes. You're doing this is wrong. Like, this is just me. What about the client? We got to do it right. Trying to persuade our employees to do it. Because some of my foremans, they're like 50s, so they learn their way. And I'm trying, technology is changing all the time. So there's new ways to do it. There's technology to do it. So I'm trying to make him part of the new. And that's how the communication that I try to have with them is persuading
So you learn to delegate, but you also hold people accountable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're very experienced.
And so, you know, are you surprised that you were able to grow your business so well so quickly?
I don't think so. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of that I have put into it. A lot of time, a lot of reading, a lot of researching. So it's been paying off.
Because really 10 years to be at the level that you're at is very good, very quick. But you were prepared when you got in. I mean, you worked for an electrical company for, in the field for 10 years, and you got your degree. So you prepared. What would you, what training would you like that you don't have? Not training, but what information out there is it that you need right now to go to the next level?
I think it will be more legal, because as you got more employees, human resources, I think that's what is the next step.
So you have a CPA.
Yes.
You have an attorney.
Yes. A banker.
The banker, right?
Yes.
And when you first started and you got that first line of credit, was that difficult to do, or you had enough resource to do that easy?
It was kind of difficult. Not all the banks will help you out, but it took took some time to have the line of credit. Later on, you learn that the line of credit helps the bonding, so they can bond you more. So it's a lesson learned. We never stopped learning, but it was a good lesson there.
Because you've got to manage employees. You've got to estimate projects right. Have you been wrong on estimates?
Yeah, I won't lie. Yes.
And you've had to eat the loss.
Yes.
And then you've got to handle the finances.
Yes.
Have you made mistakes handling?
At the beginning,
finances?
yes, I did. So honestly, I remember we got audited. So I was doing the whole 9 yards. I was doing estimate, field managing, financing, and I remember when we got audited, we got to pay like $60,000 on taxes, sales tax that we didn't. So
State sales tax.
yes.
Yeah, that can be a barrier, and they don't give you time.
No.
So how'd you do that? Did that throw you back?
A little bit, but about that time we were doing doing good on business, so we were capable of paying them back.
What role does patience play in you being an owner of a business?
A lot. You got to be patient with your employees or clients. Some clients, they do explode. They start screaming at you, so you gotta keep calm and relax.
Wow.
And respond them with the right answer.
And that diffuses the...
Yeah. What they want is they want their project done or their equipment installed on time. So we try to make it happen.
So you're what is the, I guess what is your driving force?
My family.
In what sense?
Well, I want them to see a successful father or a successful son, my parents. I want to be known as I like to help people. I like to either teaching, if it's some financial, I help them out. If it's math, I don't care. But that my driving force is it's every morning wake up with a positive attitude and keep growing.
I mean, you go to the office and you face challenges every day. How do you do that?
Take time for each problem.
So is it fair to say you've learned to overcome challenges?
Yeah.
And that's part of your workday, I guess.
Yes.
Does anything scare you?
Yeah. You know what? Something I think I discuss a lot. As I haven't grown as much as I want to, but I think you need to keep your feet on the ground.
What does that mean?
Well, the thing is, I've been seeing and I've been known about a lot of people that grow and they think they're the kings and just fall out. So I'm scared of failing.
And so what do you do to not be afraid?
Research a lot about new stuff, research a lot about human resource, finance. So be prepared if something happens, or have lunch with my attorney, or have lunch with my banker, or someone that will help me out.
So what's your next step of growth?
State. Right now I'm working locally, but one of my next goals is to expand to the east side of Texas.
How do you do that? Do you set up a presence and
we're in the process of researching different cities, areas. So it's not a short term. It's kind of a mid long term. So we're still researching.
And what about you? What is your personal goal? Your next goal?
My personal goal, travel with my family. Spend more time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you still have young children.
Sorry?
You still have young children.
Oh yeah, 6 and 5.
Wow.
So they're young.
And your wife has her own activity.
At this time, he's planning to start his own. Right now, she's taking care of the kids, but her plans is to do something.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you advise a young person starting a business today? What would you say to a person about they want to start a business?
First of all, it got to be something that they do like. A lot of people just go after the money. So it got to be something that they do like, enjoy, and would like to be doing it for the rest of their lives.
What's wrong with just going after money?
Well, I think they will enjoy working. They will be mad all the time. So if you do something that you love, time go fast, you enjoy it. As a matter of fact, each problem you will enjoy solving them.
You enjoy solving problems.
Oh yeah.
So is that a secret?
Might be, yeah. Yes.
You're not afraid of solving problems.
No.
And you face a challenge with, well, let's solve this one, right?
Yeah, what's the formula? Let's get it done.
But you've been hit pretty hard sometimes.
Yes.
But you bounce back how?
My what, sir?
You bounce back from getting hit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to. You don't have to just lay down. You stand up and keep walking.
That's right. That's right. And that's good advice to anybody starting a business.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Mr. Tijerina, I really appreciate your story and your sharing with us. It's been a valuable experience for you. I hope it's been valuable for you to talk about your business.
Oh yeah, no. If someone needs help, let me know.
No, by all means. No, it's been very fruitful. Very impressive that you built a business so strong in the last 10 years, and more ahead for you and we wish you and your business a great future. But I sure appreciate your sharing your story, and I trust our viewers enjoyed this wonderful story from Mr. Erik Tijerina of Volter Electrical Construction. Thank you so much for viewing, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful life, and be blessed. Thank you.